Hi and welcome to the Nordic Watch channel. I'm Anders from Finland and today I'll be reviewing the Seiko SRPD75. This is a part of the Seiko 5kx lineup, which was probably released already 2 years ago. Time flies and I'm a bit late to the party. I'll tell you why soon. But anyways, this is a part of the lineup that really resembles the Seiko SKX, and people are speculating that this is the replacement for the SKX. I don't know. So I'm late to the party because I didn't just see any colorways or any alternatives that I liked very much until I saw this one. The other variants were very similar to either the Seiko SKX 007 or 009, and I've had both and I didn't see any point in getting one of those. But once I saw these versions with the white chapter ring, I was a little bit interested, and now finally I got myself one. So let's review this piece. And like I said, this is one of tens, I'd say there's like 50 different colorways with the same case and then a dial variation and a different kind of strap of these 5kx models. This is probably my favorite, or at least one of them, and I happened to find one secondhand. I'll leave a link to Amazon affiliate links to ones that I like the most. They're going to be the ones with the white chapter ring mostly. You can get them for around $200 to $300 maybe, or euros. We'll see what I can find on Amazon. This one's part of the Suits lineup, and it comes on this mesh bracelet, which is pretty nice, and I will show you towards the end that this thing looks really nice on the SKX bracelet too. It comes packaged in this kind of outer cardboard box, which then has this inner cardboard box in it. Nothing special about the packaging, let's not waste any time on that. So the watch itself is really similar to the Seiko SKX. I think the dimensions might be identical, but this has a diameter of 42.5 millimeters approximately. The lug-to-lug is around 46 millimeters, so really nice for a smaller wrist. Then we have a 13.4 millimeter thickness and a 22 millimeter lug width. So overall, really nice dimensions for a dive watch and a very suitable size for any wrist. And like I said, the case is really similar to the SKX case, but there are some slight differences. I think the lugs on the SKX look a little bit slimmer, or then it's something that's just an optical illusion, but very much the same. A big difference being that the new 5kx models have drilled lug holes, which the SKX does not have, and we have a see-through case back instead of a solid one with the Seiko Wave. Otherwise, bezel style is really similar. We have brushed lugs with circular brushing, polished side, and the crown guards are also really similar to the SKX. Same kind of crown, no signing on it, and this one is a push-pull crown, which the SKX was not. But that's pretty much it for the case. Comes with a 120 click unidirectional bezel as a diver, but this one is not a diver. It comes with 100 meters of water resistance as opposed to the SKX 200 meters previously. But I think that is justified because this is not an official diver. It's not meant to be it, and I don't really agree with the hate that this 5kx lineup is getting for the water resistance, because if we think back at older Seiko 5 models, really few of them came with even 100 meters of water resistance. They used to have 50 meters or 30 meters of water resistance. So I think this is just fine. It's kind of the same specs as my Seiko Sea Urchin that I reviewed as my first watch ever on this channel, but this one comes with better movement. But anyway, the bezel action it's a little bit smoother than the SKX one, Also reminds me of the sea urchin one, but we don't get a loom pip as we did on the SKX, and I'll just twist this one for you also to compare sounds. And we have a little bit different markings also. We have a pip for every minute here on the SKX and only for the first 20 ones here on the 5kx. And we don't get a loom pip at the triangle here. So this one comes, as I said, on a 22mm mesh bracelet. Really nice and flexible. It's really comfortable on wrist and easy to adjust also. Seiko branding there on the clasp. I quite like it, and because I have a SKX, I can put it on the SKX Jubilee bracelet, which is my bracelet of choice for this watch actually. On the back side we have the ever trusty 4R36 movement, which can be found in pretty much the majority of microbands, and Seiko's robust movement. I'll put the specs up here. Seiko 5 new badge there on the rotor. Otherwise nothing special, but nothing to complain about. It's an upgrade from the previous or older Seiko 5, so that's definitely good. So this one comes with hacking and hand winding. So there, we're winding it and pull it out 2 positions, and the second hand stops. Nice upgrade, and it is being protected by a Hardlex crystal. Now a closer look of what's special about this watch and what made me buy it, and it is definitely the dial and the overall look of the watch. So this is a beautiful olive green, kind of, or a forest olive green. It's a bit more brown than maybe the Hulk version or the Seiko Sumo green one. And then that dial is like a gradient green, but it also has a sunburst, so it's lighter towards the center, gets darker out towards the chapter ring, and then that dark green and white chapter ring have a really nice contrast over there at the outer edge. Really nice combination in my opinion to have both sunburst and a gradient dial. Then also we have this kind of fake patina, so the indexes are not white, they're a little bit brownish, kind of like they would have coffee stains on them. And I never really thought I would like that, but actually with this green it looks kind of nice. Really quite like the combination of this green with that kind of patina index look. I believe those are applied indices. I'm not sure if they are embossed or applied, because I have a really hard time seeing the difference more often than not. The hands are very similar to the hands on the SKX. Not the best finishing, you can see some imperfections even with the naked eye, but hey, this is an entry-level watch still, and it's a Seiko, so it's a shame that it has become a joke, but Seiko quality control is really bad, and I can show you here already a thing I will complain about. The chapter ring and the indexes do not align properly, and that's just a bummer that Seiko consistently fails with their quality control. But more about the dial. We have a white day and date window there, pretty plain, just a hole in a wall kind of window, and I'm not really sure how I feel about the day and date wheel being like really bright white when the indexes and the hands are this kind of patinaed white. Maybe would have been better with a black day and date wheel instead. We have a nice pop of color there with the second hand, a red tip. I kind of like the combination of green and red. Then we have applied Seiko logo, and then we have the new Seiko 5 badge and automatic printed on the dial there. Overall, a really nice looking dial, and like I said, I really like that contrasting chapter ring there. It's a shame that it's not aligned properly. As you can see, the lume here on this 5kx is a little bit bluish compared to the Seiko SKX Lumibright. I think this is probably also Lumibright, but it's just a bit of a different color, and I really like that about this. It's not as strong, but it is really potent still. Nice touch. And the dial is protected by a flat hardlex crystal, which has a little bit of a dip there between the flat part of the crystal and the bezel, just like the SKX. Some people are expecting to get a sapphire crystal at Seiko's at this price. Well, they probably just don't know Seiko well enough. You're not going to get a sapphire crystal from Seiko for a low price like this, unless you have one of the older JDM models like the Seiko SARBs. That's just how it is, and I don't know, I still think these watches are worth the money, and I personally don't hold a grudge towards hardlex crystals. They've been good to me, so I'm being good to them. And here's how the SRPD75 sits on my 6.5-inch wrist with this mesh bracelet. Really comfortable bracelet. I'm used to wearing the Seiko SKX already, so this comes as no surprise, but this is a really nice size for a 6.5-inch wrist and above. And I would say that this goes easily probably on a 6-inch wrist and above. The case shape of the SKX or 5kx is great. The 46mm or so lug to lug is a good size for a slimmer wrist. Overall, really like it, and the mesh bracelet is really comfortable and it's really quiet also. Doesn't rattle like a bracelet, of course. I'm not really used to having mesh bracelets, but this one is really nice. Here you can see the Seiko SKX and 5kx side by side, and I just wanted to discuss a little bit about why I'm not that upset about the 5kx, as some people are that say, oh, it doesn't compare well to the SKX, blah, 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 blah. Look, it's aimed at a different group of people, I think. I think the 5kx model is really aimed towards young people, and I just don't see the point. Why should a watch that is being sold to people for their like first automatic watch, which I think is what Seiko is pretty much going for, I think, kind of getting into that market and trying to get sales from you know, fashion brands and Daniel Wellington and Movement and other brands like that sell bad watches for high prices. So I think Seiko is trying to target those young people that are buying those watches, and I think it's just totally unnecessary for a watch to that kind of target market to be 200 meters water resistant when 100 meters is perfectly fine for swimming and skin diving. I just don't see why Seiko should make a watch, an ISO certified dive watch, to sell to young people buying their first automatic watch. That's just, I think that's nonsense. I do think that the Seiko SKX is a great and iconic watch, and that's why I have one, and I will keep this one too. But I don't get the argument that this watch should be 200 meters water resistant with the screw down crown and blah blah blah. That's just baloney. It's a different watch, and that's why this is made in so many different colorways, because it's not meant to be a tool watch like a diver. This is meant to be an accessory, and I think that it's really nice that they still kept it 100 meters water resistant, and it has a functioning bezel, which you can't say about all fashion brand dive style watches. That's just my take on that matter. I don't think Seiko is perfect or anything, and I'm not a super fanboy or anything, but I just wanted to rant about people ranting about Seiko because I don't really agree with that. This is not supposed to be a dive watch, and that's why I ended up buying one, because when I first saw the Pepsi and the black version and maybe the blue version, I thought, well, I already have an SKX. There's no point for me to buy a 5kx, because I kind of secretly thought that the SKX is still superior, because I am a watch nerd and I understand where that ranting is coming from. But when I saw these different colorways with white chapter rings, and I noticed that these are completely different watches, because the colors there are so many color options that it feels a different kind of purpose in my watch box than the SKX does. So that's why I ended up getting one, even though I first thought that I wouldn't. But still, there are shortcomings with this watch, no doubt. And one of them is that alignment issue that is all too often the case with Seikos. I just don't understand how they can't get the alignment issues fixed. Apart from the alignment issues, I think that maybe they are a little bit overpriced, not much. I think the MSRP is probably a bit too high for what you're getting, but then again, buying secondhand or buying from an authorized dealer for a discount or getting a good deal off of Amazon, then I think that it's worth like $200 to $280, $300 maybe. Because it is a decent watch by any means. One problem with this watch is also well, even though I like the color, it is also a little bit difficult to pair with straps, so that's a bummer. But the mesh and the Jubilee from the SKX work really nicely. Show you what I mean here quickly. It's a somewhat difficult color, but of course your classics like a black leather strap or something will work. It's maybe the kind of gray and bond NATOs that there are more problems with, but actually this black leather strap from Hirsch works really well. Let's see some other straps. Here you can see on a gray NATO strap, for example, I just think the colors don't match that well, which is a shame because I think gray NATO straps work on so many watches. I'll just show this on my wrist. So the green color is a little bit limiting with the strap options. This light gray paratrooper strap actually works a lot better than that dark gray NATO strap. So this is going in the winner section in my opinion. And here it is on a black and gray Bond style NATO strap. And yeah, I just don't think that a plain gray and this Bond style fit this color. And yeah, I try on straps so you don't have to buy them and realize that they don't fit. But that's just my opinion. Maybe you like how this looks, but this is not the best fit for this watch. This beige kind of a canvas strap actually is something that could work really well on this watch. I just had to try it. It's a 20mm strap, so don't mind that. Just as inspiration for you guys if you're trying to figure out what kind of strap to get, I think this would look absolutely great if it were the right size. That would probably work. But now let's show you the best combination in my opinion. Here we have my favorite combination for this watch, and it is, no surprise, I really like the SKX Jubilee bracelet, so I decided to try it on this one, and turns out they have pretty much identical lugs, so the end links fit like a charm. Only problem is that these 5kx's don't come with the SKX kind of fat bars. This bracelet is made for the fat bars, so I have to put a more narrow spring bar in here because the fat bars won't fit these lug holes, and that makes this a little bit loose, but it still works really nicely. Yeah, this is my favorite combination and I wear this actually a lot, and this has gotten more wrist time than my SKX during the past couple of months. I really like this watch, and I get the critique but I don't agree with it. I have my own critiques, but they do not include the lack of a screw down crown and the lack of 200 meters water resistance. I think that's irrelevant in this watch. That pretty much sums it up for my review of this Seiko SRPD75 from the 5kx lineup. Sorry it turned into a bit of a rant about ranting, but I just had to voice my opinion on this. And yeah, I think this is a good value watch. It could be a little bit less expensive, but I think if you can find a good deal, it's worth the money, and it will last you a long time, that's for sure. And that can't be said for fashion watches that you can get at this price point. I like the upgraded movement. I really like the looks of it, and I will try to find you some good deals on Amazon and put them down below. I'm not really sure what these go for on Amazon, but I'm going to put the variants that have this white chaptering because that's my personal favorite of the bunch, be it the blue one, the black one, or the green one. I think they all look great. I think it's a really solid piece for your money. Anyways, this has been Anders from Finland, and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a like, drop a comment down below if you have anything to ask me. I always answer. Go check me out on Instagram at Nordic Watch Channel if you're interested. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.